DD214 Network podcast is for mature audiences only. Any videos, music, or entertainment not originating from DD214 Network is used and covered under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, also known as fair use. Opinions expressed are our own and do not represent any DoD or U.S. government entities as a whole. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. You are no longer alone now, because we have you.
All right. How's everybody?
Morning, everybody.
How's everybody feeling today?
Oh, you know. How you doing?
You got softball today?
Yeah, I got softball today, and today is like a day I really don't feel like playing at all. Like I really don't feel like fucking playing at all today, and I'm gonna go out there and do it here in a couple hours. So yay!
Why don't you just tell them that you got the seasonal flu?
Dude, here's the thing. Like the team that I play on, we barely have like enough players to play some days. Like, so if one or two dudes call off, like it's entirely possible. Like we won't have enough players to field the team. So it's like it kind of becomes like, yeah, you sign up for the team, you got to show up for the games. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, that definitely shows that ironclad infantry style fucking commitment right there, Jay.
Just fucking do it. Just fucking send it.
You're not feeling it today, but you're still gonna fucking do it for the team. And
yeah.
You know what?
Have to.
You know what?
What you got? Nothing. I didn't hear anything. That like
is
no
it
sound.
not?
No.
What the fuck?
See, I can do it. What do you? Are you having tech issues now too? You guys got to stop fucking with your equipment in between fucking podcasts, dude. Tell me.
Whoa! I want to
hear this. I want to hear this. Like what happened, John? Tell me what happened, because like I got to hear this. Like this is
yesterday,
Are y'all able to hear me?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately. Go ahead, John. That's it. That was it.
There we go.
John, tell me, seriously, tell me what happened. I got to know, because it's not your fault.
So yes,
nobody blames
you. My equipment. I mean, if you guys see, I have an interesting setup right now. All my equipment's in my new studio now, Clean Sanchez Studio, which is AKA my living room. We're in the beginning stages of getting this done and over with. And yesterday we shot the first episode of Bong Rips and Video Games, which was a fucking everything that you could think of. It was a dream. It was a nightmare. It was offensive. It was controversial, but no one died. But trying to mic up,
you missed the key point there.
Yeah, I mean, it was very fun. We had a great time, but a lot of stuff was moved, and so I had to pretty much fuck around with my shit. And I'm on Wi-Fi right now, so if I'm skipping or anything like that, I'm not hardwired right now. So I mean, I'm having, that's really my big thing right now, and it's kind of, I'm actually using the HD cam right now, which I wasn't intending to use it, to be honest with you, but here we are.
It's all right.
But we got it done yesterday. We got the show done. It was a really cool experience. Now I know the things that when we do meet up to do DD214, I know the things that have to be done and things I know not to do again.
Fair.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
you know what, and one of those things is literally like talking over each other, you know, finding the space, which the three of us have pretty much mastered at this point, given it sometimes,
Well, and
you know.
we those are all things that we did 2 years ago that we had to like work around like 2 years ago. So like
Yeah.
that's stuff that you just, it kind of comes with the flow of the podcast, and you kind of learn like, if Joe's talking, I got to shut up, because when I listen to it tomorrow and Joe's talking and I'm talking at the same time, like one or both of us is going to come through really muddled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of learn that over time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do absolutely wish you all the best on you know, like kind of restarting your podcast. You know what I mean? Like kind of like you know, like bringing it back from the dead, dude. That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, to physically do a podcast in person, there are more challenges in it than you think. You know what I mean?
I've always been glad that we kind of kept it like this, because trying to be in the same room, and
this is so much easier. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Like this, the way that we're doing it right now, it's so much easier for me, because everything's already centralized. Melon already does the sound suppression. I just found out too that Melon now has a feature just like Riverside, where let's say you cut off in the conversation and I didn't catch it, the final recording will have that. You know, we'll have the clear part where, you know, in case I have to edit or whatever. So they kind of, you know, they're doing better with like some of the layerings and stuff like that. So I'm actually kind of, you know, so it's gotten better. Now in person, you know, prepping, the prep wasn't that bad. My wife and I, we were prepping the audio overnight, and that wasn't easy. You know, and we set up the computer, we set up the mics, the cameras, everything looked great, everything sounded great. But then when you have 6 people in the same room, sometimes the audio starts bouncing, you know, and that's when you have to start. Then you have to start layering, start using different computers to layer the audio and things like that. So it was definitely an experience. But Squilini would know about like audio bouncing and stuff like that, because he's got the pads right behind him.
I mean, the big thing is like what we do here with DD214 Network is, with the virtual, we don't have to worry about, okay, is my mic going to pick up Jay? Is Jay's mic going to pick up Joe? Is Joe's mic going to pick up John? So on and so forth. Where, you know, with what we're doing, there's a lot less equipment involved also, because as long as we each have a computer, a mic, and, you know, speakers or a headset, we just, you know, hit a few buttons on Sunday, we go live. When you're sitting there and you're trying to do a in-person live podcast, multiple people, well, you want to make sure you've got a proper audio mixer that has multiple mic connections. You want to have the exact same mic for each person.
Yeah.
You want to have enough space between each person to where X person's mic isn't picking up Y person's mic.
Right.
There's so much more that goes into the audio aspects of it, because the camera side, making sure the video side of things, that's a lot more simpler, even when you're doing an in-person podcast, because you just get the camera set up at the right angle, or you have multiple cameras set up that you can toggle between, and you have one that's kind of like an overall shot of everybody in the group, and then you get like a camera set up to where you can toggle to it to trigger, okay, well, this person, and you just zoom in on them, and so on and so forth. But the audio side of doing an in-person podcast is so much more difficult than what we're used to.
Yes, it is. And I actually want to say I actually have to give a huge shout out. And I mean, if there's I got no issue with expensive wireless microphones at all. You know, I have no issue with that at all, Squilini. But sometimes you just got to go cheap, right? You know, if you don't have the budget, whatever, sometimes
if it works, it works. Cheap.
So I got 2 of them, right? Now the one that I'm using is a IU Make VP wireless lavalier microphone. Okay. Now this specific one,
it's got the little USB-C dongle that plugs in, and then it's got 2 mics.
Yep, it's very good. I'm using it right now. I used it for the show yesterday. Now we used another set of mics that were not that good, you know. And there's a difference in quality, especially in the things that you pay for. But if you guys are trying to go on a budget, I definitely suggest the IU Make VP. It's pretty good. It's not that bad. I mean, even Jay could use it. All he's, you know, it's literally, you know, like if
it's
we
plug
were
and play, and that's the thing you want for, especially when you've got
like Rhodes. That's
now,
how Rhodes is.
You know, right now we're looking at, like, for you, John, you're expanding Clean Sanchez Media to now you've got podcasts you're doing in person. You're not just doing virtual podcasts, and you know you're wanting.
To be honest with you.
Well, I mean, personally, I have no problem with the virtual. I do look forward to when we do finally get together and record some shit and do a group one, because I can only imagine the fucking shenanigans we're going to get into, the three of us together in fucking person.
You don't even want to know. I saw one of our DD214 members last night, by the way, guys. You guys, Cardenas.
Oh, no shit.
I can't say too much, but Cardenas is in town for a few days and doing some hua hua stuff with the U.S. Army. So I went out and saw him last night, and we'll probably see each other at least one more time before he departs the metro area. And it was good to catch up with him last night. We had we had a good conversation over some carbonated beverages, and we had a good time. It was good seeing my buddy, and it brought back
White Claws last night. Is that why you said carbonated beverages? Actually, because you didn't want to out yourself like that?
That's funny, dickhead. No, I'm drinking in Missouri is a sport, so it's one of those things where it's like, even when you're talking about drinking the night before, you have to be careful, because it's like when you start talking, you're telling your story, people are realizing like, yeah, how many beers did you actually have? Oh, and then you drove home. And it's like, that's not quite the reality. It's like when you slow drink, you know, easy to drink beers, you know, that have a very low, you know, alcohol content. It's like, yeah, you can have a few, and if you're there long enough, you're going to be okay to drive, right? That's part of being an adult and moderating and stuff like that. So it's like,
that's where the typical rule of thumb of, I just try
to watch my words, because in Missouri, people it is really hard to quantify. Like, I grew up in Arizona. I've spent 7 years in Colorado. I've spent a lot of time out west. Out west, drinking is different than the Midwest, is different than the South, is different than the East, is different than the North and the Northeast. You know, every region has its kind of style of drinking. In the Midwest, it's scary. That's like the only word I can use is fucking scary. And the people that are born and raised and bred out here, these corn-fed motherfuckers, dude, like, drinking is a fucking sport. Like, I mean,
they'll go out, they'll drink, you know, a case and a half of beer.
People out here drink beer, you know, the way people in Arizona smoke weed. It's like everybody does. It's just everybody. Just assume everybody does, right? Just assume everybody. There's going to be the teetotalers and the people that don't, you know, whatever. But just assume that everybody does, because it's a fucking sport out here. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically the gist of it. And that, like, and you know, you're talking about me being an infantryman and going out for the game today and, you know, playing for the team. But in regards to what you and John are talking about, here's the other part that I'm definitely an infantryman on. I'm so fucking lazy, dude. I don't want to fuck with any of that bullshit. The fucking tech, setting it up.
That's what he has me and John for.
breaking it down, putting it back together. I'm like, I'm also an infantryman where I'm like, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to do that. I want to go take a nap under the tree.
Drinking a fucking Yingling while me and Sculini are like, the fucking wire goes there, John. No, it goes there, Joe. It goes right there.
Oh, God, that was...
Goddamn, guys, that was
like 3 or 4 fucking weeks ago we had that conversation, John. Where Jay
but you know what, to add
because it was before we hit the go live button.
I have to say too, it's a good and a bad about Beacon right now. Okay, so I did use the Beacon to add in more microphones, and it helped. It's actually a hardware thing, but the one thing that fucking sucks about Beacon is that I don't. If you guys have noticed, not only am I in a different set, I don't have my microphone anymore because it's fucking broken.
Well,
I'm sorry.
and you know, we just had this conversation about USB-C being fucking superior. Why the fuck is my port loose? Where the fuck is the superiority in that?
So after you said something about that, I double checked mine because, you know, I've got that mic on my gaming setup back behind me. My port's not loose. I've reached out to several other buddies that I've convinced to buy that same mic because you're not the only person I've gotten to purchase that microphone. Nobody else is having that issue. So what that tells me is yours was a defective unit out of the factory.
Yep, and that's fine with me. But like you said, I'm in the 1 year
just
warranty.
got that earlier this year. Like you haven't had it for a full year. And I double checked Beacon's website, and there is a 1 year warranty. So once they get back to you this week, they'll be able to replace that mic for you.
You know, go
ahead,
TwitchCon. Say it again, John. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because on Tuesday, I mean, their support's closed until Tuesday because they're over at TwitchCon.
Yeah, which actually, I'm not sure if you noticed, Beacon's also now released a fucking mic arm.
I saw that, but the thing I don't like about it, like, is it? It's
a low profile.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Do you guys want to hear something funny? Freaking,
I do.
I know John will remember this because he remembers when I got it, but a few years ago when we were like really initially starting the podcast, was just barely starting to get off the ground. My buddies, including John, they sent me a fucking microphone, which I still use to this day, right? And I'm sure a lot of people recognize this model. Also cheap, not expensive, right? I just use one of these, you know.
No, I didn't think that one. That was from Nikki.
Yeah, well, you guys gave her what to get. You know what I mean? Like you told her.
Yeah.
Funny story about that. So I was working. I did a couple of overnights last week, and I did a couple of overnights this week at the stadium. And in one of the booths that I was in, they have this exact microphone in the booth, like with some of their equipment, like for. And I was like, oh, that's funny. But the thing, these are not expensive, and I'm still using it 3 years later. So like again with the infantry laziness, it's utilitarian. It's utilitarian. I don't need the latest and the greatest. I know you tech guys get boners over like some of the new shit, and I'm like, fuck, that thing's been working for me since 1863. I'm okay with it. Well, I'm okay with it. It still works.
Can I say something that really that's really funny and pisses me off? One of the guys that I work with, right, Gio, fucking Gates, his microphone. Now when we do some of our virtual recordings, there's a guy named Tony who sounds like shit. Okay. Debs, he's passionate. He sounds a little bit better than the rest of them. Gio uses a fucking webcam mic. Has full noise suppression,
and it sounds better than everybody's. Sounds better than everybody's.
It sounds better than anybody's shit. It's incredible. Like Squilini, you know things like this,
and it costs like $10. I mean, it costs like $10 at the fucking Compton swap meet, you know, to get it. And it was why does he sound the best? I spent $500 on this shit, you know, like
being the more, you know, because I guess I will honestly say, and you know, in the time that I've been on the podcast, we're actually 2 episodes ago would have been 1 year. Now that I'm thinking about it, since I've been full time on the show.
Holy shit,
because I came onto the show 3 episodes before our Halloween episode last year. And we're a week away from Halloween again.
Ooh, yeah, we got to figure out what we're. Well, I know what I'm going to do for our Halloween episode.
But you know, the thing is, yeah, I get a little bit of a tech chubby over new technology. I also am kind of, I'll say, you know, since I've been around John and you, I've kind of gotten John more into the tech side of shit too, because I've shown him things and I'm like, listen, look at how cool this is and what you can do with this for this purpose.
Sure.
And you know, yeah, out of the 3 of us, I'm the one that, of course, jumped on the bandwagon and went and got the new fucking iPhone the day it fucking came out.
It's good to have people like you in the house, though, Joe, because I would never have a fucking clue one way or the other. It's not my arena. It's not my fight. You know what I mean? It's like it's one of those things where like
I mean,
I would never even think to look for some of this shit, let alone all the extra stuff that comes with it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
and that's the other side of the coin is, you know, all of our viewers and the people that watch us and shit, they just see me as one of the talking figureheads of DD214 Network. But
right.
behind the scenes, before episodes, when you or John are having issues, I'm the one sitting there, hey, do this, do that, do this, do that, doing the fucking troubleshooting, giving you the tech tips, trying to get you to fix whatever the fuck you fucked up because you pressed the button wrong. And you know, that's where it helps having someone on the show or in your inner circle. You know, yeah, I might be a nerd, as my fiance so lovely likes to call me all the fucking time, because I'm constantly, oh, look at this new piece of tech that's coming out, and she's like, I don't fucking care, you nerd.
Nerds.
But you know, it's helpful to have someone like me in the circle because
for sure. Well, that's I just watched a couple of, they're not retro episodes just yet, but like from earlier this year, the week of and the week after the Super Bowl. And the day of the Super Bowl, we had an episode and my shit went off for like 30 minutes. Do you remember that, John?
Yeah.
And that day I was texting you guys back and forth. I was like, my internet just went out. What the fuck do I do? You know what I mean? And you guys were like, okay, start looking at this, start pulling this shit up.
Look at this. What's this fucking wire
pull up a hotspot on your fucking phone. You know what I mean? Like and I was like, and then the fucking internet came back on and we got lucky. Like that was like basically what happened, where it was like, but it took 30 minutes. You guys were like sitting there like twiddling your thumbs for like 30 minutes, you poor bastards. Like, well, I was like sitting there trying to troubleshoot behind the scenes, like with no fucking clue. No fucking clue. Here's like
the reality of it is, you know, like that incident with the Super Bowl episode this year, when I'm throwing out, try this, try that, try this, try that, because your internet wasn't working. I do that on a fucking daily basis, Monday through Friday.
Right.
Like that's what I do for my full-time fucking job.
It's your literal job. Like that's how you make your money.
Like someone pays me to tell them to turn it off and back on again. You know, call out to the IT
the big bucks,
great fucking show back in the day. But you know, that's actually legit. The thing is, some people in the IT industry got butthurt when that show, The IT Crowd, came out, because the big running joke was, have you tried turning it off and back on again? I've worked in fucking IT for 14 years now. And I will tell you, 95.76% of the time, if you power it off and turn it the fuck back on, it fixes whatever problem you're having. Yep. It's not actually like making fun of IT. That is legitimately, I get paid almost $70,000 a year to tell people to fucking power off their devices and turn it back on.
That was it. I remember that being a joke in the Army too. Like when we had, that's the big joke. Turn it off. Did you turn it off? Turn it back on again? You know what I mean? Like it's like first that's the number one freaking thing you do. Like,
you know, like I guess it was yesterday, right, John, when you were saying you were having the issue with your mic. And me and John had a conversation about this, and obviously Jay, he's just like, you fucking nerd, spending all this money to have backup fucking equipment. I've got a different mic on all three of the desks in my fucking office.
I do not judge you guys. I do not judge you guys.
7 or 8 backup mics in fucking bins of extra tech shit in my closet. I've got 4 of this exact same fucking keyboard and mouse. That way, if one breaks, I've already got a backup brand new in a box.
So, like, this is what actually happens in my brain. Like, when, like, you guys went on, like, that long, like, texting spree yesterday, like, my eyes start fucking crossing and watering a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see, like, a trickle of blood come out of my ear. And, like, and I'm
Nikki's staring at him as fucking brain matter spewing down the fucking side of his head.
I'm sitting there, like, with the shakes trying to, like, fucking turn my phone off, dude. Because, like, I immediately start stroking the fuck out, dude. Because, like, I, like, no clue. Like, so far out of the loop, like, it's like I'm not even in the same fucking region as you guys with that shit, and it just like I immediately like it's hard. It is hard. I don't know how to describe how hard it is. I can't even stop my brain from automatically like just shoving it this way. Like my brain goes on it goes on like auto ignore, and then like somebody will try, hey Jay, what about this? And like I'll miss it because like my brain like auto ignored like everything. Like it was just like nope, just clear it, clear it all. Like yeah.
But yeah, no, John. So obviously you had your first real taste of trying to manage a live podcast.
How did that go? How did it go, John? Like tell me a little bit about like how did the session go? And like we're joking about fucking shitty tech and stuff, but it's like how did it go?
The experience was actually kind of fun. Trying to calm everyone down while recording and before recording is definitely a task. Especially when everyone's in like excited and high spirits, and you don't want to be rude to anybody. You don't want to be like shut the fuck up, but everyone was really cool and respectful during the recordings. I know now that the spouses that were there, including mine, I will be making them work next time.
Making them work?
Oh yeah.
If you're here, you have to do something that provides value to the show, or you can get the fuck out kind of situation.
Kind of like the early days of fucking our podcast, where like we'd all get excited about something, and like 4 dudes are trying to talk basically at once. And,
and it's so cool because like then when we finally did start recording, we didn't set up or plan anything. We kind of just recorded like hours of content. We have like a month's worth of content. And
you basically just hit the record button and you'll patch it together, like edit it later kind of thing?
Yeah, so we got a whole bunch of stuff, reaction videos, which are super funny, sports related. We were talking about actually having you on that show, Jay, since you're the pothead.
I am now.
Yeah.
Well,
you're going to have to converse.
The only reason, in my defense, the only reason I'm not
because of your job.
And also, no, because my job doesn't drug test because we're a fully remote company. It's because it's not legal medicinally or recreationally in my state.
That's a big thing too, especially when we're coming into an age.
And the thing is, for my job, I can't afford getting a fucking drug charge.
No, absolutely not. I could play. Hey, no peer pressure here. No peer pressure.
I will straight up say, though, if one of my buddies comes over and they've got some and they're like, hey, you want to take a hit? I will. I've done it before. I have no qualms about it.
Man.
It's just I'm not going to go out and risk myself trying to get it myself.
Understandably so.
I don't think anybody's going to blame you for not wanting to put your freedom at risk. You know what I mean? Like nobody's.
Especially since we're so close. You know what I mean? We're so close.
I mean, the thing is, I've worked my ass off to get where I'm at in my fucking career after the military. I can't let something so trivial jeopardize that.
Yep.
That's all it is.
That's like, you grow up, you have kids.
The second my state says, hey, medically you can go buy this shit now, my doctor's already told me I need to get a fucking card. Like if we lived in a state where it was allowed medicinally, my doctor's already said, you're perfectly fine to get a fucking medical card.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. But that's also why right now I drink more than I do anything else, because the alcohol, helps with
more
it's accessible. A temporary solution to the pain and shit like that, and then helps me sleep.
Just had this conversation with some buddies the other night over some suds, you know what I mean? And we freaking were discussing the fact that while not perfect, and they do have their side effects and their absolute negative, effects, alcohol and cannabis keep us off of probably 10 different pill cocktails that we would otherwise be on. And if I can hold out before I have to start taking pills every morning when I wake up, if I can hold out another 5 or 10 years before I have to start doing that shit, I'm fucking going to.
I'd much rather.
People don't like to admit that alcohol does have some medicinal effects. There is in moderation, and I want to make it very clear. It has been scientifically proven there is no safe amount of alcohol to drink. Okay, so let me unequivocally state I am not excusing, alcohol or alcoholism, right? But
we're not condoning alcoholism. We're just stating.
It's also been proven that there are medicinal effects that come with alcohol. They kind of get brushed over nowadays because everybody's scared of being a drunk. But the reality is it does help me sleep. it does keep my pain at a tolerable level, along with cannabis. You know what I mean? And there are things that come with that. If I'm let me put it this way,
I'm fucking shelf over here of fucking alcohol.
I'm 42 years old and my dick still works. Okay, if I was on a fucking pill cocktail, guess what? The first thing to go is usually with that shit. You're fucking like the ability to use the ability to use your fucking dick. You know, like during
I think it's so funny too how like with liquor and alcohol you can make it decorative, but with cannabis you can't because you smoke it all. You could sit there with a 90-year-old bottle of fucking whiskey on your shelf and not touch it at all, and it would be a nice decorative piece. But you leave a
you know what? Fuck you, John.
Meat on the shelf for 90 years.
It doesn't look the same.
I feel personally attacked here because I have an entire shelf of fucking good bourbon.
Yeah, I like it. No, you're good. No, you're good.
I prefer a liquor cabinet. I like a liquor cabinet.
I mean, well, that's one of the next things I plan on getting for my office is an official fucking liquor cabinet.
There you go. That'd be dope.
Because there's some really nice ones on Amazon now that have like LED lights built into them and shit.
Refrigerated?
So you can no, because with bourbon, if I want it cold, I've got molds to make big ice balls for my bourbon if I want it on the
Have you ever used soapstones?
I'm not a big fan of them. I feel like they don't chill it properly. And another, now we're going to switch. Well, conversational here. Another big thing with bourbon is the reason I don't use like whiskey rocks or soapstones or anything like that, where it's like a metal that's chilled to put in your glass or a stone of some sort that you put in your freezer till it's ice cold and then you put it in your glass. It doesn't chill properly. And the thing I like with bourbon is the flavor profile changes as that ice melts. So every sip, you're getting a little bit of a different flavor, different profile to the liquor. So, when you start off and you take that first sip right after you pour it in the glass over the rocks, it's got that very base flavor as if it was on the shelf and you just poured it in a glass, because obviously you just poured it in. But as that ice melts and the water gets added to it, it changes those flavors. It brings out, depending on the bourbon or the whiskey, it brings out more of the caramel flavors, more of the vanilla, more of the oakiness. So there's reasons why I prefer using ice balls than the stones or any of the other chilling items that have come out.
John, are you good? John, are you good?
Yeah, I had to change my camera.
Well, now it's tiny.
My battery.
Holy fuck, that was small.
There he is. There he is.
So
hey.
My battery camera died.
But that's the thing. Like you said, John, though, you're not doing that with cannabis. Like, you get some really good fucking cannabis, you're smoking the shit.
I mean, you could make a wreath.
Gone.
You could make a wreath out of the leaves, right? I guess. But that's about.
But that requires you to grow your own plants to be able to get the leaves.
Yeah, that's a lot of. See, there's the infantryman in me again.
I'm not much unless you're going to a fucking farm.
But unless I'm growing it to then sell it to a fucking a fucking
pothead,
a dispensary.
Dispensary, yeah, that's
there you go. Okay.
Brain fart again. I've already had a lot of alcohol this morning, so brain.
No way. No way. Joe's already drinking first thing in the morning.
And spitting into a prime bottle.
Speaking of which, I need to go get another beer.
Day out, I went and got breakfast for me and the fiance, and I've had 2 mimosas.
Yesterday my wife made this delicious fucking lasagna, man. I literally, when she pulled it out the oven, it was one of those like, if it wouldn't burn my dick off, I'd put it in there.
Well, I mean, so this is going to be one of those things I'm going to actually, before I really talk about like breakfast yesterday. Okay, Jay's back. So
sorry. Mimosas. I heard mimosas.
Well, yeah, no, I started the day off with mimosas. Now we're going to switch over. Now that it's afternoon.
It's a really comfortable setup. I could do this all the time.
But so one of our local chains here, which you don't have in Jersey or Missouri, is called Biscuitville. So it's a, it's a.
God damn it! That's like Tudor's Biscuit World in fucking West Virginia, right? Like,
in a sense, yeah.
By the way, if you're in or around West Virginia ever and you don't go to Tudor's Biscuit World, like God has
Tudor's is fucking good.
God has set aside a special wrath for your ungrateful heart
So,
if you don't go to Tudor's Biscuit World in West Virginia. Okay, I'm just saying. Go ahead, Joe.
So Biscuitville being one of our local, like the restaurant was started in the city I live in, and now like the entire triad in North Carolina. So it's, the surrounding like 3 big metropolitan areas here.
Yeah.
We they've expanded, they've got, multiple locations now and stuff. And they get all their stuff locally from local farmers here in North Carolina and South Carolina. And they just recently added a fucking meatloaf biscuit to their menu.
Come here, Tater. Tater, come here. Stop. Tater, come here. Tater, come here.
Now with the meatloaf biscuit though, you can either just get the regular meatloaf biscuit, which is just their standard biscuit with a slice of meatloaf in between it, or you can get the loaded meatloaf biscuit. The loaded is where Jay's going to be like, Joe, you're going to give yourself a fucking heart attack.
Again.
Again. So, well, no, I've actually surprisingly never had a fucking heart attack yet.
Oh, not yet? You're still on your first? Okay.
I haven't had one at all. So
you're like, you're like a resident like Bears fan, dude. You're like, da Bears, like sitting there like munching on like Polish sausage and fucking drinking a goddamn stout beer.
My wife and I just watched that skit. It was on. I don't know if you have Peacock.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they got all the.
Have you seen the live channels? So we watch the SNL live channel every now and then. It's fucking hilarious.
Picture
man.
of this fucking biscuit up there. Because I took a picture of it to send to the guys that fucking work.
Yeah, I want to see this biscuit too.
It's like a heart attack in a fucking, wrapped up in a fucking paper fucking napkin. Like, let's fucking see this shit.
So that's the meatloaf.
God damn it.
Then it's got bacon, hash brown casserole, cheese, and egg. The hash brown casserole has sausage in it. So you've got bacon, sausage, meatloaf, cheese, egg, and hash browns on a fucking biscuit. This thing is fucking badass and it fucking tastes
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Oh, he's not there. He's not there. Like, it's like, love it, dude. Love it, dude. That's fucking awesome.
Shout out to New Belgium and the Voodoo Ranger Fruit Forces.
How is that, by the way?
I actually like it. So it's got a little bit of a fruity note on the back end, and they're 9.5 by volume each.
Oh shit! So that's a hefty one then. You
drink 3 of these out of a 6-pack and you're done.
They started fucking hawking that shit. They started putting like, some of the liquor stores. I see the fucking like the posters for it. I see the posters for it here in Kansas City once in a while, and I'm like,
9.5 by volume.
Jeez.
Dude, if that's not Wild Bill's, get that off my screen.
Damn.
First off, you non-alcoholic fuck.
Yeah, how dare you not abuse alcohol like we do, John?
As he's over here drinking coffee out of a fucking teacup from the 1960s.
Pretty dope.
It actually might be accurate. Actually, what's the year on this?
Trying to be fancy and shit.
From the fucking 90s.
It's from the 90s.
Oh God! Tell Mrs. Potts said hi.
Oh man,
He called. They need their cut back for the new live action version of Beauty and the Beast.
Hey, also, I gotta say, John, I love the fucking skull, man. I think it's really fucking gas, dude.
This is all Francesca. This is all
then
her.
Tell Frenchie. She has fucking.
She's right here. Put your hand in.
Frenchie, you have impeccable taste. You have impeccable taste.
He's over here, executive producer. Squillini, I didn't hear anything you said.
What the
Say
fuck? There we go. I said, yeah, no, we know she can hear because she was the one that chimed in the background. I heard her in the background with the.
Yeah, no, this is actually. I mean, this we've even got like these really cool, like she's got like these candles here in this water, and there's a bunch of like skeletons in here. All right, my bad.
I mean, you're barking all
I
the way
love
up.
how she just got on John for touching the candles.
Dude, John, with all the skulls and skeletons, like you're barking extremely like up my tree, dude. I mean, that's just
this is all French. You know, you could tell what my aesthetic is: the headphones, the controllers, the paper pipe.
The only thing you're missing is like
Spyro that you need to actually move on the scene because he's badass.
The only thing you're missing is like one of those like Catholic candles.
This was I can't remember if this was my wife's birthday present or Christmas gift. I don't know. Speaking of which, okay, two things. We got three major holidays coming up. Halloween.
Yeah.
Here we fucking go.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And Christmas.
So
next
we're going to start with Halloween here.
Yeah. We dressing up for next week's episode?
Yeah, and I am still, as is tradition, I have no fucking clue what I'm fucking doing next week yet. I'm sure I will figure it the fuck out in the next fucking 168 hours, but no, like just like the last 2 fucking years in a row, John, like I cannot figure this shit out until like I keep missing Halloween. It's like I tell myself in like February, hey dude, you got like 6 months. Get some shit ready for Halloween. And like it's fucking it's the week before now, and I still have no clue what I'm doing. No.
That's kind of like last year. Last year I decided I was gonna fucking come as Jay for the fucking episode.
That's like the equivalent of like remember like the old black t-shirts and in orange lettering it just said like cheap ass Halloween costume. You know what I mean? Like,
but so what I'll probably end up, I think I'm probably just going to wear what we're wearing. So we've got, there's this castle in this area that does like parties and shit for like Halloween, Christmas parties, stuff like that. So this coming week, they have on Friday night, they have what's called the fetish. It's a fetish party.
That's hot. That's hot.
And we wanted to go last year. We weren't able to get tickets. This year we've got tickets, so we're going. There's 2 different ticket tiers though. So for like $40, you get your ticket, but then you have to like come dressed in like something like assless chaps.
Right.
Or you can pay $50 and then you just have to wear all black.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm paying $50 wearing a fucking black button up that's like halfway fucking button, my man titties popping out almost kind of situation. Black dress pants,
like
black shoes.
Like, is this like a place where people like get down with each other a little bit? Like, is this?
No, it's not. No, it's
not one of those.
All.
That's a real shame. Shucks.
It's a fetish party. So there are people that are walking around with like dog masks, with like gimp masks on and shit. There's chicks that'll have like if they're more of a dominant type of chick, they've got their significant other on a fucking leash with a fucking gag ball in their mouth and shit like that.
Are you sure?
Are there glory holes? Wait, yes. Are there glory holes?
No. I was gonna say, are you sure nothing is going on at this? Are you guys just in like the innocent part of it? Like,
so the neighbors went last year, and because of state regulations, nothing's going on. Like they've actually got sheriffs that go to it to run security on duty.
Sucks. North Carolina sucks, dude. Fucking no, dude. Like you got to go to one of these parties, dude, where people are like straight getting down, dude. Like you don't even have to participate. You can just sit there and watch. Like I'm sitting here drinking a Modelo. And like, there's some fucking wild ass shit going on in front of me, and I'm just like, oh,
yeah. I mean, we're going to it. We're looking forward to it this year. We wanted to go last year, because the neighbors went, and they had a fucking great time walking around, you know, kind of just hanging out, drinking beers, enjoying the fucking atmosphere, the music, all that shit. And they have like different areas. Like they have, you know, like a vendor area where it's like all the different sex shops in the area selling shit. They have multiple different like dance floors and bars where, you know, you've got like rave music on one dance floor. The next dance floor is playing something totally different type of shit. It's just something to do. I'm looking at it more of a, you know, this is the second year they've done it. So last year was the first year they did it, because what they do is on Friday night they have the fetish party. Then the next they actually have a full like Halloween costume party where you go, you have to be in costume of some sort. Not doing the costume party because we're gonna actually have our own little like get together or that Saturday for a Halloween party type of scenario. Here in the complex, I'll probably end up smoking fucking pork shoulders on Saturday kind of situation. Because that's what always fucking happens when we do these big get-togethers with everybody is I end up
You're like the master
standing outside since fucking like 5 o'clock in the morning with pork on the damn smoker.
But see, that's again just like the tech thing. Like we need guys like you because, like, again, infantry lazy until it's time to fucking go out the gate, right?
Hothead.
Yeah.
Hothead.
Lazy until it's time to go out the gate. Yeah.
Yeah. I
functioning alcoholic. I get up.
But you're up at 5 in the morning fucking smoking pork shoulders. Like that's
and I'm
but I'm also up at 5 in the morning smoking pork shoulders with a cooler full of fucking beer beside me already drinking.
I'll tell you one thing. Do you guys want to know what I'm doing for the Halloween episode?
Tell us. No, wait.
Are you going to wear your wife's heels?
No.
Oh, are you going to wear your wife's heels?
No, I've never cross-dressed for Halloween. My wife's had to hold me a few times, but gave up on it when I said I'm not doing it.
Fair. I also would not cross-dress for. I'm not big on.
I'll give you a hint. It's an old cartoon series.
That's not enough of a hint. That's very vague. I know a lot.
It's an old cartoon
going as a GI Joe?
It's in that era, but it's
Transformers.
He's
Are you gonna be fucking Optimus Prime?
He's an environmentalist.
Captain
Planet.
That's 90s. That's 90s, but you're good. I'll forgive you. GI Joe's 80s.
Now remember,
first episode of Captain Planet was the 90s.
Now last year I got a little simple with the astronaut stuff because I was really spacey. The year before that, we rocked out Vision.
You were really spacey because you were so fucking excited for Starfield. That was everything that was on your fucking brain.
Correction. During that time, in October last year, I was watching For All Mankind.
Yeah.
Well, that too,
and
yeah.
That was a big thing for me. And but the year before that was Vision, which I love doing. So we're gonna do the face paint all over again. We're gonna be Captain Planet. I'm your hero. But don't count me to zero, baby. You know
what?
But next week, we're planning on going to the Luna Fair, which, from what I understand, it's supposed to be like kind of like a Renaissance fair of some sort. But there's going to be it's like Halloween.
Yeah,
it's like a Halloween event going on and things like that.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, there's gonna be party. I mean, there's gonna be partying. It's kid friendly too, so I'm gonna be able to bring the kids over there.
There you go.
Very fun stuff. But Halloween looks like Halloween's gonna be it's gonna be fun this year.
I've seen more in our neighborhood. There are more like house and lawn decorations for Halloween this year than I have ever seen in my entire life. In my entire life, like every single street, there's multiple fucking houses that have yard and house Halloween decorations. Like multiple people up and down the blocks, you'd have and some of them are like fairly intricate where it's like they have like a whole yard like scene. You know what I mean? It's like a fucking scene. Well, like almost like Christmas, right? And I have never seen this much participation in Halloween. Like in my entire 2023, I'm 42 years old. I have never seen this much participation. I was telling my daughters, my oldest daughter is going to be going with one of her friends, but to a different area in the metro with her friend's family. And I was telling her, I was like, dude, our neighborhood's looking pretty ripe this year. Like if you start right after, if you start early, you start like right after dusk, and you start generally, kind of far away
in our area, and then
they'd make a killing. They would make, because I've just based on the houses that have decorated. It's that many. It is that many on every street. It's that many. Like they would make
For me growing up, my neighborhood, everybody, passed out candy and shit, but the neighborhood right next to us was like the multi-million-dollar houses.
That's
surprisingly
that's kind of where my oldest
we had
going to that.
We had the $250,000 to $450,000 houses, and then literally right on the other side of our neighborhood through the tree line was a multi-million-dollar house neighborhood.
Right.
I would always do our neighborhood first, right as it got dark.
Yep. First
get
thing.
the candy from everybody there, then go to the multi-million-dollar neighborhood. And that neighborhood, everybody passed out like fucking full-size candy bars. They didn't do, like miniature fucking Halloween bag candy fucking bars and shit.
Right.
It is working, John.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw it.
No, I'm just no, because there's a thing going on with YouTube right now where like they're going through like an update and a lot of names and handles are going through and people have to transition their handles with YouTube, and that's been happening the last week. So if there's like any issues with the comment section, you can't comment. Make sure you check your make sure your YouTube stuff is all good to go. But yeah.
So that's kind of, growing up, that's kind of what we did too. We would hit our neighborhood, then go hit that neighborhood, and then come back to, the house. And, I grew up not so well off. So when we went trick-or-treating, we brought fucking pillowcases.
Yeah. I still send my kids out with pillowcases.
But see, the thing is, the pillowcase is the best fucking bag.
It's because it's fucking huge. Huge.
Especially because we use the fucking king size pillowcases. We don't use standard pillowcases. So you're using those giant ass fucking like 41-inch long pillowcases to fill up with candy. You've got room.
Oh, plenty.
And because it's a pillowcase, it's not going to fucking break under the weight of the fucking.
I got a question.
Supply.
Using your best estimates. Think about the year you got the most candy. There's always there was that one year where you just pulled in a haul. How many pounds of candy did you bring home that night on your best year?
I would have to say that was my last year that I officially went trick-or-treating as a kid.
Okay.
And
mine's actually similar to that. Mine's actually very similar.
I would say it was between 15 to 20 pounds of fucking candy because I was still eating the fucking candy through fucking Christmas.
My answer is almost identical. It wasn't the last time I trick-or-treated, but it was like when you're old enough as a kid to like start planning shit for yourself and know like what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we had energy.
Exactly. We had mapped it out. Like we're gonna hit this house, this house, this house.
We had energy. We had energy. So like we were running up, literally running from house to house. And we got to like we did kind of like what you talked about. Like we started in our neighborhood. We made it all the way through our neighborhood, and I think it had just become 8:00, which left us like about an hour. So we went to the neighborhood across one of the main drags where we lived. We went to the neighborhood across the street, and then we started fucking hitting that neighborhood. And by the time we walked home, it was probably about, like you said, at least 15 to 20 pounds. It had to be because I just remember what the sack looked like when I held it like this, and it was just this fucking like basketball or larger size, like dodgeball size ball of all the candy we got. And it was like, there's no way that wasn't 15 or 20 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So, it was fucking massive.
I'm saying 15 to 20 pounds. It was, the king size pillowcase. And usually every year before that, I'd be able to, like 2 to 3 grips worth of pillowcase still empty. That year, easily. I had just enough empty pillowcase to wrap one hand around it to throw it over my shoulder.
Yeah, like a goddamn garbage bag, basically.
Yeah. Like almost, it almost felt like I was carrying a 55-gallon fucking garbage, one of those big black lawn trash bags full of fucking candy.
Yeah.
But again, I was also in shape, so.
Right.
Frenchie over here is saying over 18 pounds.
I believe it. I fucking believe it. Because
like I do agree with that. Like, because I remember one of the last times I went trick-or-treating. So my mom always made an effort to get us the McDonald's buckets,
which they brought back the last 2 years.
Yes, they did. And they look so good. So my mom always made an effort like to make sure that we had those buckets every single year, and we always had them. And I remember just because the town that I lived in, like Jay says, we build up, not out. So we had a lot of apartment buildings. So we would go into the apartment buildings and trick or treat inside the apartment buildings as kids. You know, because it was cool. You know, all the neighborhood kids and we had so many elderly people in our neighborhood too that it was like you had to go inside the apartment buildings just to.
That's actually really wholesome, John. Because like I did not trigger. Like I don't even have a concept of doing something like that. So were you like climbing stairs and then you go down the hallway and knock on all the doors in the hall and then climb?
That's exactly how it was.
That's fucking awesome. Like that's super fun. Dude, that actually like makes my fucking heart happy, dude. Like that's like
I mean,
like that
so
really.
we would cover. Now you figure like. A typical Union City building is maybe anywhere between 3 to 5 floors.
Okay.
We would clear the building, come home, drop the candy off, and then hit the next building and the next building. We wouldn't even have to like really leave town. We'd just stay on our block because we all knew each other and everyone was dying anyway. So it was just like, we'll just go to their house. And the cool thing about that little part of our neighborhood is that there was always like a Spanish grandmother. Just chiquitito, let me do you know, like
Mia, are you hungry?
You know,
like
let me feed you, me. Pobrecito, you know, things like, you know, they start pinching your cheeks, they give you some caramel with the cream in the middle, you know, and shit like that. You know, those were good Halloween times. But I think now obviously being an adult, being a father, you enjoy seeing your children in their costumes, but one of my favorite moments in the experience I'll never forget. It was actually wild. My wife and I went to the New York City Halloween parade one year, and I was Night Owl from The Watchmen, and she was a Bloody Maid. And like I think for the sake of Halloween purposes, the dress was a little short. Not that I minded at all.
Love the
but that thing was popping, and like you know, like she even had to get herself like a pair of matching underwear to like keep it with the costume. But like the group of people that we were with, one of the dudes must have been like 12 feet. He was like this 12-foot tall white tree, and he was wearing this white wedding dress, and he had said something like it was like a real wedding dress. It was a real wedding dress. Like a really old one, and I don't know what happened, but for some odd reason, he was like on top of me at one point. Remember, he was on top of all of us, like riding us like a cheap whore from Detroit. Like it was.
You got raped by a tree. You got raped by a tree on fucking Halloween.
Well, I mean, John is a cheap whore from Detroit, but
it was a very interesting Halloween night, but one of the more memorable ones because it was the only Halloween that I actually ever spent with a group of friends. And actually had a good time. So that was like a real memorable Halloween for me, man.
There you go.
Halloween's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a good time of year. It's a good time of year. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to, because I think you had stepped away when I said this, Jay, but 2 weeks ago was officially my 1 year of hosting or co-hosting with you guys. Because I started about 3 weeks before the Halloween episode.
Yeah. Fucking thank you for a year of your service. Thank you.
And
you get your badge. You get your badge now.
I had a lot of fucking fun, with the Halloween episode. I've had a lot of fun with almost every fucking episode we've had. But the holidays are definitely one of my, I will say, my favorite points with this show because we always do something to try to one up the previous year because it's the holidays. Whether it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, fucking Christmas.
Christmas is going to be fucking wild.
The fucking death nuts at fucking Easter.
Oh my God. The fucking that hot belly shit, man. Like we got to figure out a different challenge. Like the hot belly shit's got to go, dude. Like I can do it.
We're done with hot belly shit. Fuck that.
Dude, my problem is that fucking I can take it. That's my biggest problem. I'm like the guy that's gonna die of like a fucking like my stomach is gonna burst
because remember this year when we did the death nuts, me and you both blacked out for a solid fucking 20 minutes.
30 minutes. No, I was like 30. Like, well,
20 to 30,
20, 30, yeah. Cool, because I commented on it and then when I go back and watch it later, I'm like, fuck, I don't remember that part. I don't remember that at all. Like fucking like it got
because
bad.
With that spicy shit, you eventually hit a point where you just hallucinate or you black out. And the worst part is
the scariest part is I was completely coherent the whole fucking time. Like completely.
The scariest part is no. The scariest part is there's a pepper that beats the Reaper now. It's called the Pepper X. It just came out this week.
I'll quit. I'll quit this podcast. I'll quit. This is your shit now.
John, I was so proud of you when you did the challenges this year because like I don't ever expect any of that from you because that's not one of your strengths, right? I got a stomach that was made from like cast iron, and then like it got covered in adamantium at some point. You know
now
what I mean?
Imagine what I'll do in person.
That's dude. Dude, like I was just proud of you for fucking hanging in there with us. You were fucking like trying to eat like one nut at a time, like, and you were like,
I was sucking on them at one point.
Yeah, and it was like, yeah, dude, and like that one sucked. I was really disappointed in the chip challenge last year, but then the hot nuts challenge like more than made up for it. And did you see the Pocky chip challenge this year? Like somebody died off of it. So they had to
So they actually pulled it completely off the shelf this year because
what?
So on the warning label, here's what pisses me off with that situation is on the warning, it says you must be 18 years or 18. It says warning, not for children or anybody below 18 years of age. Caution if you're pregnant, this, that, or the other, do not do this. You know, It has a fucking warning label. A 17-year-old did it. A 17-year-old or 16-year-old did it and died from eating the fucking chip, causing Pocky to pull the whole fucking thing off the shelf.
Yeah.
So he has no case then. The family has no case then.
Well, it's not even that. It could have been a pre-existing medical condition too that they just didn't know about, and that's one of those things where you wouldn't fucking know unless you put like fire into your fucking belly. You know what I mean? And then like some bad shit happens and you end up in the hospital. And unfortunately for that person, like they didn't make it. They didn't fucking make it, bro. So, but you remember how disappointed I was last year? I think I think Pocky got a lot of flack for that. Like I was far from the only one.
Didn't you do that with Yumi and Lauren?
Yes, and like you remember that episode? I made it. I mean, I made it an hour easily. Like it was only it was.
I remember watching that episode. That was before I even joined you guys.
Yeah,
that was before I even was a guest. On the show.
Yeah, and I think I was hurting for like maybe 10 minutes, and the next hour was just I was talking like a regular, like nothing was wrong. The hot nut challenge, we were barely. I couldn't even make coherent sentences. You know,
we've got fucking clips of it in our intro of you just.
Yeah, like I'm
just. That is one of my favorite clips too. See, people ask me, "Oh, tell me about your podcast." I'm like, "Oh, check out this clip."
That is a go-to fucking clip. Like, we're three veterans that do stupid shit. That is the epitome of our fucking podcast right there. I mean, if you go back and look at that episode, like the shine on my fucking forehead from me sweating so bad, like because I did my hair that before the episode, like you can see in the clip in our intro, I've got my hair done. I was sweating so bad the fucking hair product was dripping down my fucking forehead while we were eating those nuts.
We had it rough that day. That was Easter. It was Easter, but like boy, did we fucking have it rough that day. That was a rough one. Like that shit hurt, dude. That shit like legitimately hurt. like I don't think I came all the way back from that one. Yeah, I was like going back.
I still haven't shat right since.
You know, I have like two challenges for when we do meet in person that we're gonna do. One of them is a blindfold drinking challenge.
Oh God. Okay.
As long as nothing spicy is involved, or goat piss, or cow piss,
it's nothing spicy. I mean, it's either going to be apple juice or corn oil, Dr. Pepper, or some weird Mongolian drink.
Okay.
But hey, because we're at.
I need it to be sugar free because of my dietary needs.
Oh, we're at 104. So I learned something this week about Japan.
What?
Oh God.
That their arrest rate is 99.8%.
Their what rate?
Their arrest rate. So there's a little bit behind that. In Japan, literally, if you spit on the sidewalk, you can be put in jail.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be fucked there. Oh, man, I'd be fucked.
The reason why I bring this up because like I don't follow this guy, but I do I watch videos of other people talking about like what fucked up influencers do to get clout. And this one guy named Johnny Somali, right? He has a history of going to Japan and being super racist and fucking with them to a point that members of the Yakuza beat the shit out of him.
Cool. Good.
Exactly. There's even a clip.
Is there a clip of it? Can we see that?
Yeah, I really do want to see this.
Check it out. Look at Squillian. If you can, try to find me. Johnny Somali gets knocked out. There's also a video with Johnny Somali talking shit to a German guy on vacation. And he's talking shit to him, right? And the German guy's so calm. And the next thing you know, this German guy, he puffs on his cigarette, throws it, and he turns around and he punches the guy straight to the ground. So Johnny Somali got arrested for this because, you know, it's harassment. You're harassing people.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, here at DD214 Network, I do not recommend and do not take this as a challenge. I do not recommend.
Yeah.
Don't do this shit to vets. Don't do this shit.
Do not do this to fucking anybody.
Don't do it to anybody.
I will find you myself and fuck you up. Like, dude, don't do that.
Just especially don't do it to people like veterans and like stuff like that, where like you don't know who you're fucking with, and it's dangerous for everyone involved. It's just dangerous.
Yeah, don't do it to the whites. Don't do it to the blacks, the Asians, the Jews, the Israels. Don't do it to anybody. Do it to chomos.
It's not. Yeah, like this is one of those things where like this is not about trying to say that we're tough or we're bad or we're gonna do. It's not about that. It's you don't know who people are. You don't know what lives they've lived. When you're doing this, like, I don't know why it became popular to just go up and bother strangers, right, on the internet.
Seriously,
like, I don't know where that concept of like don't talk to strangers got lost, but it clearly did. And it's like there are people out there and they look just like you and me. They're completely normal. To walk by them in the street, you wouldn't think twice about them. Like, you can get hurt badly messing with the wrong people.
Yeah,
you can get worse than hurt badly. You can get crippled, death. You know what I mean?
This is the German kid right here that with the cigarette. Yeah, play this clip. Look at this, man.
Down there. Malcolm X. Racist. Hey, racist. Hey,
Look at the dude with the man bun. Just keep your eye on him.
Yeah.
Just don't. All you have to say don't grab nothing. Oh,
damn.
1, 2.
Damn.
Anonymous sent $3
That's what you get. That's what you get. That dude had a man bun. That's exactly the shit I'm talking. That's the exact shit I'm talking about.
Never underestimate a guy with a man bun.
Yeah. So to just get to more of this crazy story, he gets arrested, right? He gets out. So more footage keeps on coming up with him harassing the Japanese people. So as more footage comes out, the police are looking for him and they're arresting him again. And he's getting out and arresting him again.
Good.
And he's getting out and it's becoming a cycle. So so here comes the next part. They found out he's been claiming that he's Somalian. He's not Somalian. He's of American descent. And he's about to serve a 3-year prison sentence in Japan and then get deported back to the States.
Good. Fuck it, dude. I hope, dude, like that's that shit, man. You remember that guy that was, hey, I'm Tyrone and I fucked your wife. You know,
I love Tyrone.
And he starts
fucking Tyrone.
That dude got shot. He got shot. He got shot because of that. Like, it's good, good. Thankfully he lived. Thankfully he lived, but the dude literally got shot doing that shit. Like, that's exactly
it was
why
last week. I mean, last week we were talking about the Paul brothers because of the fights, the boxing match, the fights and shit. And I mean, remember it was Jake Paul taking doing videos in the suicide forest over in Japan.
Yep. And he got
that was Logan.
That was Logan Paul.
Yeah, it was Logan.
That was Logan.
Yeah, and we talked on that last week.
Well, no,
Japan does not fuck around.
First time I ever heard of Logan Paul.
That was one of the first times we talked about the Paul brothers on this podcast. Actually, was because of that. That was early in the freaking podcast. We discussed that he went into the the suicide forest and freaking like found that body. And then they were like, oh, what do we do now? And they got like in some trouble over it. Cause it was like, dude, like, that's not where you belong. Don't go there. That's not that, like, you're not in your.
I mean, to some cultures and some perspectives, that's a sanctuary for.
That's what it's for.
So
You know,
that's
like,
exactly what it is.
That's why they call it the suicide forest. Like it's in their culture.
In Japan, like in the Japanese culture, the reason they have the suicide forest is it's a sanctimonious grounds that they feel like that they have the belief of if you go in there because you want to kill yourself and you kill yourself, it washes you of any wrongdoings of killing yourself because you did it specifically in this area. Like it's sacred ground.
There's a long history of that forest, like back in the shogunate, the days of the shogunate, you know, the feudal Japanese era.
Yeah.
People would take their elderly out there, like on stretchers when they were getting close to death, and they would leave them to die in the fucking forest. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, and there's a long history in that. And there's a whole thing, but it's a Japanese
it's a whole
thing.
ritualistic thing.
It's a Japanese thing. It's not a fucking American thing. You know what I mean? That'd be like somebody coming here and like doing some shit here in America and just like taking
That'd be like somebody coming here and fucking going and taking a piss on a grave at Arlington.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and our history isn't even that old. Like, try that shit on the fucking reservation. You know what I mean? Try that shit on the reservation. Like, you'll get, dude, you'll disappear. You will fucking disappear. You won't make it out.
Trust me, tribal law on the reservations.
You will not make it out. You will not make it out. You will
not. You will disappear, and nothing will happen to whoever made you disappear.
Yep.
Yeah, and to kind of get into perspective a little bit. I mean, we always talk about suicide prevention, but I would love to have a conversation with someone walking into there and understand their perspective. You know what I mean? Because as much as I would want to convince them not to do it, you can't change someone's mind, and you can't change someone's way of cultural thinking, like that cultural mentality.
There is a thing.
And that's the thing with the suicide forest in Japan specifically. It's not like, obviously we're big mental health proponents because between the three of us, we're really fucked up in the head.
Which is fine.
And
which is fine. Which is
fine. But you know, the suicide forest over there is totally different. To them, it's a final resting place in a sense. It's you have nothing else to do or to live for.
We've never had a and it's a conversation that doesn't come up very often because suicide is a very taboo topic. In our culture, it's extremely taboo. We've never really talked about euthanasia. You know, we put animals down. We put animals down that are suffering, right? You know, our doggies, our kitties, you know, like our birds.
Well,
like when you're 85 years old, you've lived a long life. And if you have this like terminal shit and it is excruciating to stay alive, we've never had that conversation. And that's one of those things where it's a hard topic because of how taboo it is in our culture. It's hard to even broach the topic and have an adult conversation about what happens at the end of life. What happens when you do reach into, because 30 years old is not end of life, right? Fucking 40 years old, where I'm at right now, 42 years old. That is not end of life. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like extreme circumstances. Like, do we
80,
like what do
80,
you
90s
9/11?
You've got a terminal illness.
Fucking 9/11, a plane hit your building and you can burn to death or you can jump. That's not fucking exactly suicide.
I'd have fucking jumped.
Yeah, me too. But you know what?
I'd have jumped over burning to death because at least when I hit the ground, it's over. I'm feeling it for fucking a millisecond and then it's done.
You
no, because I'm blacking out in the process of falling.
Well,
you'll have a heart attack.
You'll make it to the ground. It's not that. It's the electrical impulses in our body don't travel fast enough. You'll be dead. You'll be dead before you feel anything. Like it's like getting struck by lightning. Basically, like you're not gonna feel it. Like when that thing imploded in the ocean, looking for the Titanic.
Yeah,
when that thing imploded, it imploded so
None
quickly.
of them
Like,
motherfuckers felt anything.
they didn't feel it. That it'd be the same jumping off a building like the World Trade.
So-
like it would be the
I
same.
guess-
It's very similar.
I guess since you kind of started talking about euthanasia, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna go a step further, and I'm gonna say our healthcare system's fucked up. I honestly
part
feel
of the
like it
problem.
is.
Part of the
And
problem.
Here's
Absolutely.
the thing. So with what I've had to go through between 24 and now, my dad, cancer, cirrhosis of the liver, really fucking sick. Obviously, he wasn't, in his 80s or anything, but because he was a heavy drinker and a pothead and a pill popper and all this other shit, he couldn't get on a transplant list to get a new liver. And yes, thank you for the warning there.
Got you guys. These. We're all adults here, and this is a fucking mature rated podcast. But in case a 10-year-old wanders into here,
to talk about
now,
it.
I will say, I feel like this whole, assisted suicide thing that's been back and forth is bullshit. I feel
Agreed.
like if you're critically fucking ill, if you have a chronic illness where you have a set, hey, I've got X amount of time to live, and you decide, you know what, I want to go out now instead of get to that point where I just can't do shit.
Yeah,
you should be allowed to tell a doctor, hey, I'm done. It's time to fucking call it quits.
Let me get my affairs in order.
Human beings, when our pets get to that age where they're so sick or they're so old that they can't hold their bowels, they can barely walk, and we're allowed to take a dog or a cat to a fucking vet and say, okay, they're obviously in pain. It's time to say goodbye. But we can't do that with our fucking loved ones. Our loved ones can't fucking make that call themselves, because if they do, the doctor or whoever helps them gets in fucking trouble.
Right.
And I'm sorry, that's fucked up.
We know why that is. That's religious superstition creeping into the law. Like,
exactly. I watched my dad suffer. I watched my dad suffer for the last 6 months of his fucking life.
Yeah, pass on that.
And I was 23 years fucking old, fresh out of the army. I was his medical power of attorney because he knew my mom nor my twin brother could make the call. And it fucking hurt.
Sure.
Deep down, I still have trauma from that.
Of course. You don't like watching people suffer is not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though I was in the army, I went to fucking war. I fucking killed people. I don't like watching other human beings suffer.
Correct. That means you have empathy. Congratulations on not being a psychopath or a sociopath, Joe.
I mean, at least I still have fucking empathy after fucking the shit I saw overseas. Because there are a lot of veterans that come out and empathy's completely gone because of what they saw over.
And it sucks. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it sucks. But, the thing is, I feel like if I'm an adult, I've got a chronic illness, even if I'm fucking 60, if the doctor says, hey, you've got 3 weeks to live, and I say, no, fucking go ahead and do it now.
Yeah, just fine.
I should legally be allowed to tell a doctor, hey, give me the night juice.
You're not, dude, you're not going to hear me argue. I mean, you're talking to, I think we've talked about this before. Like when I used to go on, all 3 of my deployments, when I went on a mission, I had my combat load and I had fucking 1 extra round in my fucking cargo pocket. Because if I was going black,
and that 1 extra round was in case you were the only one left when you went out.
Yep.
You could fucking go ahead and.
You're not going to see me on the internet in an orange fucking jumpsuit. That's for goddamn sure. You know what I mean? Get my fucking head sawn off. You know what I mean? Like that's
exactly.
I'll fucking. I mean, that's something that we don't. There's a lot of times as veterans we do not talk about the fact that we're okay with fucking dying, and that's why I think suicide is such a hot button issue with vets, is because we understand exactly how you can get into a mindset where you're just like fuck it and you go, because death doesn't fucking. Death holds no fear for us. You're like, I mean, I ain't fucking scared to die.
Like for me,
and it's like,
but if I go to my doctor tomorrow, and he says, hey, you've got 3 weeks left, I'm walking the fuck out. And first thing I'm doing is calling people I don't like and telling them to go fuck themselves. One last time.
Fucking vindictive ass. Like,
And I've got one person specifically on the top of the list, and that's the fiance's sister.
Oh shit!
Don't say that on the fucking Joe. John. That's going to be an edit later. Like,
No, I'm clipping that.
oh my God damn it!
She doesn't watch this shit.
Oh, I'm clipping that bad boy.
You never say the
What's
quiet
that?
part out
What's
loud,
that?
Joe. Jesus Christ, dude. You don't say the quiet part out loud, dude. Come on.
I've called her a
Like-
cunt twice now. Okay, so I think the quiet
Oh
part.
my God. Like,
Speaking about the quiet part, I have to say a really dark thing the other day. So I have a buddy of mine that's going through a situation. He's going through a situation where he's trying to kick his girlfriend out of the house. They're no longer together. You know what I'm talking about.
so what happened?
So he's
What
trying
happened?
to kick his girlfriend out the house, right? So he's trying to figure out all these ways. So I was gonna say something fucked up, like, well, we could just kill her.
Oh
You know,
my
like we could just.
God.
That's gonna be a fucking edit, Jay.
God.
What I said
quit.
is less of an edit
You guys
than what
don't
he
need-
just said.
You know what? You guys don't need to quit the podcast. I fucking quit the podcast. Like, fuck you guys. Like, fuck you guys. I'm out. I'm out.
He's like, I am not going to be an accessory to fucking murder. Fuck this shit.
I'm not going to be an accessory to murder or suicide. Okay, like, stop.
So okay, so I can't. So I actually did not say that,
I'm not-
and actually came up with a better plan. So I came up with this plan to come up with a prank and forge all this paperwork. Like, okay, you need to leave the household, but it be a prank, except she still loses. Is that
That
legal?
might work. It might work. Well,
Is it legal though?
So
no.
Here's the question.
Every state municipality has their own. So, like, if she wanted to fight it, like, she's like, it's like, what would you call, like, squatters' rights? It's like I get
That's
mail
exactly
here.
the situation.
Well, no, seriously, it's like I get mail here. I don't pay rent. I don't pay utilities, but I get mail here. I've lived here for over 30 days, or whatever the municipality rules is.
60 days.
60 days, 6 months, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Areas,
It's like if you've passed the period that you've lived there, you start getting like you live there. You've established yourself there. You do have rights. Actually, you do have rights, and it's like nobody.
Which is kind of fucked up, in my opinion.
It goes both ways.
To a
because
degree.
The whole reason it gets fucking convoluted is because property owners have rights, right? As property owners,
yeah.
But tenants also have rights as tenants.
So
you can't just like kick somebody out on Christmas.
Say to a degree.
Well, you can't just kick somebody out on Christmas with no notice onto the street and say like get the fuck out. You know what I mean? It's like
in Latvia we can, and I will.
Right.
So
right.
That's where I was saying to a degree, though, Jay, because for instance, let's say I've talked about it on the show, the issues I've had with my apartment complex and shit. And I was telling the guys earlier, John and Jay, before we started, an issue that I've got going on now, where, now they're having to run a whole new fucking electrical circuit to the breaker box because apparently my office and my kitchen are on the same fucking breaker. So if I run the microwave, well, even when everything in my office is turned off, computers, everything, the fucking microwave keeps tripping the breaker because there's too much power going through too small of a fucking amperage breaker.
Right.
So, to a degree, like by tenant laws, at least in my state, I'm allowed to withhold rent until they fix that issue.
Oh shit, nice. I call that a win.
I'm not doing that because I'm not trying to fucking have to pay, $4,500 in rent after they get it fixed. Because I'm not made of money or anything. I fucking do a podcast and a couple other things, but
and you make so much, dude. Tell them how much money you make off this podcast. Tell them what was your salary off of last year's earnings of your podcast.
So the thing is, right now for this podcast specifically, there is no earnings. This is 100% fucking voluntary. I make more.
Play with the joke. You're fired.
Go fuck yourself, John. You can't fire me. I fire you.
I've been waiting for this day my whole life. I'm out.
But I mean, the thing is, like, I do this, I work a full-time job, I stream. I make more money off of fucking playing video games online for dumbasses that decide to watch and pay me to play them than I do fucking doing this podcast. And I do this podcast because I like Jay, John. I like the random bullshit that we get into. It gives me.
I promise.
This is one of those things, like, no matter what, like, I might have a week where it's like, I don't feel like fucking streaming at all, but I will guarantee you I'm going to be the first motherfucker logged in and ready to go for this podcast every week. And is that not true? Both of y'all know. I'm the very first most weeks. I think there's like
I was like
every like 4 fucking months. Last week you were the first one.
I was gonna say, like, it was like a week or two ago I was the first one, but that was like the only time ever. Yeah, like literally, like I'm not early for anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like I promised myself when I got out of the army there were a couple things I was gonna do. You know, I was gonna go back to being I was gonna go back
not
to being
in a rush to fucking be at everything you gotta be at.
Dude, like, definitely slowed down. I definitely had to slow down, like pump the brakes, right? Like, I was gonna go back to being Jay, and I was gonna remember again what it was like to have fucking fun.
Yeah,
like I didn't do my time in the army and get out, and very luckily got out and functionally healthy, you know, whatever, to just be this grumpy old vet, right? Like the rest of my life. Like we laugh and we joke.
Love the hoodie, by the way. I just ordered one.
Fucking A. Like it's one of the few grunt style things like I'll actually like my mom got it for me. So like that's like my mommy got it for me. So like it's cool. Like, but anywho, it's like I'm already jaded and cynical enough. You know what I mean? Like as a human being, I've been through a lot and I've seen a lot, like not unlike anybody out there, you know, potentially watching this. I'm sure everybody's been through some shit, you know, like I hate to get Mr. Rogers on everybody, but in truth, we really are all special. And that's why we have to take care of ourselves. Part of me taking care of myself after getting out of the army was remembering what it was like to fucking smile and laugh and have fun and like not be a fucking like violent prick all the time. Like, yeah. And like, that's
I still struggle with this to this day, and I've been out for fucking almost 14 years now.
That's why I'm not afraid to freaking like. That's why I go to therapy, bro. I go to therapy. I'm not afraid to admit it. Like that, I see a therapist for this shit, and it's like, it's not that I didn't lose my sense of humor. It's that my sense of humor scares people now. You know what I mean? Like when we were joking with John earlier. You know what I mean?
Humor
like
too.
Oh, you know, you could just kill her. You know what I mean? It's like that's our humor. Like it's exactly. So dark. It's so dark, it turns off people that have a dark sense of humor. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, well, fuck. Like I ended up like isolating myself because I feel like the social faux pas just start.
You know what's become the moral bar now? The moral bar is now: are you diddling kids? No. All right, you're good. You know what I mean? Like that's
exactly like, are you a chomo? If you say no, then you're perfectly fucking fine.
Yeah, we don't care. We have been through so much shit that we're like, and like seen so much shit and done so much shit where it's like, as long as you're not a chomo, dude, like,
you ran over 12 people at a convention parade.
Shit happens, man. Shit happens.
Well, they shouldn't have been in your fucking way. Okay, we're good.
Shit happens, man. You want a fucking beer? Like, sit down. Here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
There's that moral. That's where we are now, and it's funny because like. A couple wrestlers have come back, and I was really like going down. I'm like, am I really gonna follow this wrestler? I'm like, but did he groom someone? And I'm just like, no, we're good, you know. But
well, I mean, that's like, you know, looking at, you know, you mentioned wrestlers specifically, like, you know, we've had some really weird shit happen in the wrestling community.
Yeah.
But again,
that's a whole nother.
You know, are you a chomo? No. Okay, we're good to go.
Yeah,
that's literally, and it's sad that, you know, back in the day we used to worry about so much other shit, or people used to worry the human race as a whole, and now it's just, oh, you don't touch kids, we're good to go.
Well, that's because like, you know, like things like being a good or a bad person, it can be objective, and it can also be very subjective. So depending on the night that you're hanging out with somebody, they could be the nicest person in the world to you, and they could go home and be a total piece of shit to everybody that they love in their family, right?
Yeah.
But but that's objective and subjective. It's like, so when you get to a certain age, and especially coming out of like the three of us have been in the Army, let's just say like coming out of military service, you've seen so much and potentially done so much, been through a lot, where you're just like, as long as you're not a total piece of shit, dude, like it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's like really like I'm too
tired. Come sit at the table.
I don't have time to filter. I don't have time to filter through whether or not, you know, you and your old lady get along, or if your kids still talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't.
Whether you stole fucking a $12,000 piece of jewelry, I don't care.
It's not my business. It is not my business what somebody else does in their day-to-day life. In the immediate moments that I have interactions with people, the only thing that matters to me is like whether or not we're cool. If we're not cool, I can just keep drinking my beer. If we are cool, you know, let's get down. Let's fucking rap for a little bit.
I might buy you a fucking beer.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Tell me some stories. Tell me some stories. I'll tell you something.
Like as a veteran, I will say there is at this point in life, and it pisses my fucking fiance off so much because I just don't give a shit about a lot of things, and she gets so butthurt.
They take
about
it
stuff, and I'm like,
they take it personal, bro.
Just
like,
it's not your fault. Let it go.
Yeah, it's not your fault. I just don't. It's not. Like I'm trying to. That's why I do therapy, because I'm trying to get back there where like I can pretend to give a shit, because like that's all it's going to be at the end of the day. It's going to be pretending.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't have a poker face, so it's like, oh, I heard about this, and then I'm just like,
two things. There's two things I really care about. Are we cool? Do I feel like we can be cool? Then yes, we're cool. If I feel like we can't be cool, then go fuck yourself. Second thing, stolen valor.
I gotta
really fucking bring that up, but stolen valor is a huge fucking thing, and it pisses me the fuck off.
I think it's a lot bigger in the South and the Midwest than it is, because out west you don't see it. You really it's so low, and like you don't see a lot of people trying to flex as military like out west where I grew up. You see it.
My wife said there's a lot of patriotic pride out there as well.
Yeah, and that's not to say the West is not patriotic. They just don't. Like they fetishize the military in like the Midwest and the South. It's a fetish, straight up.
When I say stolen valor, what I'm talking about is like that fucking chick that claimed all that shit and was fucking. It was what, American Legion or some shit like that earlier this year. Or you know, people that fucking are walking around in fucking dress uniforms with all these fucking ribbons and special fucking shit that didn't earn any of that crap. That's what pisses me off.
Then you know what?
It's
next week.
You know, I get being patriotic. I get having a love for your military, having a love for your country, but there's a difference between being patriotic and claiming shit you didn't fucking earn.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do next week for next week's Halloween episode. Since there are assholes that like to dress up as soldiers,
are we gonna fucking throw some stolen valor compilations up and fucking talk shit about the motherfuckers?
The three of us will pick two.
Okay,
we'll just pick two.
We got to be careful about this one too, because there has been some correlation with. There is a lot of the guys that do like they go like over the top with the stolen valor stuff are extremely mentally ill, and I don't like making fun of them, because those are the one like what you were talking about, Joe, with the lady that like sucked money out of shit and like made it like profited off of it.
That was criminal.
That's different. I will back.
Well,
I'll back.
That's kind of why I pointed that specific one out, because
like
there's a difference. I can tell when I'm watching a video of someone who's being bombarded about stolen valor. I can tell because I've had enough interaction with the human race at this point to know this person's not 100% up here.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not gonna fuck.
They don't know they're doing anything wrong.
Bro, and especially with my career and how it went, and the things that I can just legitimately say, like it's on paper, it's on my DD214. I have nothing to prove to anybody, right? Like if I came across somebody in public like that, I would not, first off, be filming them. Number two, I would also not I would not be a dick to them. I literally like, I would feel like I feel bad for them more than anything that they fetishize.
Well,
what it
now,
took.
those guys
like,
I feel bad for, but the
I
ones
really
that
do.
don't,
I do.
the ones that
like,
don't
I
feel
want to
bad
point it
for are
out.
the
Like
ones who are going
yesterday,
into fucking Burger King with a pair of flip flops and fucking and with their hair all over the place, literally lying about the things that they've done when you know that they're when you know that they're criminally.
Let me put it into retrospect. Like, yeah, I have a lot of distrust in just Joe Blow on the street saying they're a veteran. However, for instance, yesterday, with us moving from the old unit to the new unit, we had to go to the UPS store to return our old cable boxes to get new cable boxes, all this other bullshit because of the way fucking internet and cable works here. The intersection where the UPS store was, there was an older gentleman, probably, well, older than any of the three of us, standing out there with a sign. U.S. veteran, need help, anything will do. As I had my fiance go into the UPS store to bring the cable boxes, and I walked across a busy ass fucking street to go talk to this guy.
What'd you find out?
I found out that everything he told me, I could, from just my veteran senses, as I like to call it, tell they were true enough for me not to say, hey, stop lying about this. Afterwards, while she was dealing with that, I walked over to the McDonald's next door with him. I got him some fucking food, sat down, talked to him for about fucking 30 minutes.
There you go. That's how.
I didn't jump down his throat. I didn't pull my fucking phone out of my pocket and start recording. I was a fucking.
Hold on. Sorry, that last part you got cut off because of the sound. Say that last part.
I was a fucking adult about it. I didn't do what pisses me off with all these stolen valor videos is the second somebody assumes stolen valor, they're pulling their phone out and recording.
Yeah, that's part of it. Just like
I gave the guy a fucking chance, talked to him, heard his story.
Were you the best MP ever? Were you like the best cop ever, dude, when you were a cop? Because like most cops don't do that. like
I wasn't gonna be. So
sounds like you knew your job, dude. Like you have to actually understand.
I knew my job, and my job was fucking investigating. I was purely to investigate a situation. I didn't jump to conclusions. That's not my job. That wasn't my job when I was a fucking MP.
Yeah, I actually before we get to the final thought, I actually have a good stolen valor story.
Go for it.
Did our live and recording fuck up because it went from like an hour and 14 to now showing 7 minutes and 58 seconds?
Well, I'm still showing an hour 37. So
well, then it's just on my end. Fuck it.
So some of you who may remember when this podcast started, I was working at a muffin factory. I don't know if you remember that. So during that time, there was actually a gentleman there who came in, he had like the old pickle pants, right? He came into work wearing Timbs and stuff like that. And I spoke to him and he was like, no, I served. I just came back from deployment 2 months ago. Right? He's working at this muffin factory with me. And things are already like not adding up. I'm like, danger pay? Why would you come here to one of the shittiest fucking jobs in America, which is frozen food? Frozen food is one of the worst jobs. Tell me I'm wrong.
I've never done it, and I'm not going to assume. I've done some shitty jobs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to assume if you're calling it that as somebody's worked there.
You're going to tell me that you just came back from fucking. I think for what he said, he told me he came back. He did. I think he fucking said he did that. He was first in Iraq, and then he went to Afghanistan, and then when he said Iraq, that was the first like red flag, right? Because I knew there was nothing going on over there except whatever little things, right? We're talking what 3-4 years ago. Nothing was going on in Iraq 3-4 years ago.
Right.
That was the first thing. The second thing was him saying that he just came back from deployment. First thing in my head is, well, what happened to your danger pay? Why would you come work in a place like this instead of working something a little more?
Well, you don't come off deployment and go to like, I mean, I guess if you're in the National Guard, maybe, but like maybe, but that's not quite
and
like
he did, and it's funny because he didn't claim that. Like he didn't claim that at all.
He was talking like more like he was like active duty.
Yeah.
And that's like, yeah, and you're just like, that's not how active duty works at all.
Yeah, so he kept on going, and he was just like, he kept on talking about how great his deployment was and all these people he killed. So I asked him even more questions. And I told him, I was like, you should come on my podcast, the DD214 Gaming Podcast, and talk about your service. And he was like, yeah, maybe we could do that. So that same day, I went to Human Resources, and the guy who was in Human Resources was in the Navy. And when I had came in, and for tax, if you don't know this, for tax purposes, you could give your DD214 to your job, and they'll take your paperwork in. You get the company gets some.
It's a lovely two-way street.
They get an incentive for hiring veterans. That's
yep. And I love that. I love that because then they see my pedigree, and they're like, oh shit, this guy's overqualified anyways. Like, bring him on board.
Yeah,
okay.
Give him the DD214. So I told him, I was like, hey, we have a guy here. I sat him. I was like, we have a guy here who's saying some questionable shit, and I said it just like that. He was like, he's claiming to be a Marine. We know stolen valor is illegal. I was like, I know we can't just go up to him and be like, hey, you're fucking lying, but I think that this should be something that should be taken care of. So he told everybody that he was a veteran, that he had just came back from deployment. Everyone was melting over this guy, right? So later on that day, towards the end of the day, when everyone was leaving, I saw the HR guy come up to me and say, hey, I know you said you were a veteran. Can you give us your DD214 so that we could, get some things going with, taxes and stuff? He never showed back up to work after that.
Surprise.
Always got to do it, because if there's one thing that people who steal valor that they do and they never know, is that they don't do enough research about the jargon that is used in the military. Because it could be the littlest thing,
or just how like the day-to-day operations go, where it's just like, that's not what coming back from a deployment is like at all.
He did not say one bad thing about his military lifestyle, not one bad thing, and that's
red flag number one right there, because we all have fucking complaints and issues.
I was in for almost 12 years, and I fucking loved the Army, and I can tell you like over 1,000 stories about hating my fucking life in the Army.
But,
okay, like, and I loved the Army. It was like the fucking like, and I loved the Army. I'm the guy that got out, and I actually enjoyed my time in, right? And I can tell you 1,000 stories of days where I was like at the end of my fucking rope completely.
And that's the thing. Like, I honestly, if I physically could, I would go back in. Like, I will say that right now here, fucking on this podcast, live on the goddamn internet.
Man, however, I don't know. That Space Force is looking real nice, and they raised the age to 47. So I don't know.
Why do you think I'd go back in?
God damn, dude.
John, you didn't give me enough time to say this yet.
First off, both of you shut the fuck up. You have kids. You're getting married. All right, like, fuck both. No, we're out. We're staying out. We're like, if I can't go to fucking, if I can't go to Ukraine, you motherfuckers can't fucking go back into the Army. Fuck.
All right. I tried to go to Ukraine also, and they wouldn't take me. So go fuck yourself.
I'm just saying, dude. Just saying. All right, like,
but we've had a good episode so far. I'm gonna kind of just get us back on track here for a second.
That's fine.
We're coming up to a close. We've all got shit to do this afternoon. Mainly the old guys got to go fucking play softball. The grandpa of the fucking podcast
is still playing softball, by the way. Is still playing softball.
The oldest one out of the three of us is playing softball, when the two younger ones were both like, no, go fuck yourself.
Cardenas, when I saw Cardenas last night, like, he had initially when I first got to where we were, there was another gentleman in the Army there with him, and we were discussing, but Cardenas was trying to explain to his buddy that like what it was like being like an 18, 19-year-old kid and having this fucking like psycho like 30 something who like out PT'd, outworked, out like everything, and then would go home at night and like we would drink our fucking faces off, you know what I mean, and just like rinse repeat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like living as a like single soldier in the barracks. Like I taught this dude like how to party responsibly, basically, because like and he was trying to explain like what it was like being like a kid who's not even old enough to drink and trying to keep up with me. You know what I mean? Like where it's like you're not just it's not healthy, so just don't.
But you know, everybody, we're a little over 168 away from really truly hitting the holiday season. And this is a time that's hard for a lot of people, myself included. I lost my mom 5 years ago on Christmas Day exactly. And you know, this is a time that's hard for a lot of people going into the holidays, having lost loved ones, people they actually fucking care about. And I really do tout and advise, if you're feeling down, depressed, like you've got nothing else to live for, reach out to star 988.
Or you can just call 988.
Or you can call 1-800, or you can call 988 or 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. Or if you don't feel like doing that, reach out to myself, any of the guys here on the show. I know we're all, you know, open ears. We're not registered, licensed psychiatric personnel. We don't have degrees in therapy. We don't have degrees in anything of that nature. But we at least
we'll listen. I'll listen to you like any day of the week.
If you're not feeling down and out, reach out to somebody you haven't talked to in a while. That text message, that phone call might be what saves a fucking life. Because you've got battle buddies that might have been that you haven't talked to in years. And just, you know, a text message, a Facebook message, whatever it might be what causes them to step off the fucking ledge. We're going into that time of year where, you know, it's all happy and, you know,
it's good for the kids.
You know,
good for the kids, man. It's good for the kids.
Good for the kids, but you know, for us adults, we need to keep a check on our mental health, our mental stability. Reach out if we feel like we need somebody to talk to. Reach out to those we haven't talked to in a while, because who knows, they might be needing somebody to talk to and not know it. So just, you know, play a part in trying to help cut back on the numbers. I know, you know, for the longest time it was 22 a day. I think the statistic has dropped a little bit. Not much. It's still way too fucking high. 1 a day is way too fucking high. But you know, just reach out, try to communicate with your battles, try to communicate with your friends. If all else fails, you know, reach out to people you don't fucking know, like me, Jay, and John, who you just watch us ramble on the internet once a week. Because I might be busy every day, but I'm never too busy to just listen.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
I think
we did it okay today, boys. I think we did it okay today.
Today was a slammer, and next week is going to be even more fun. It's going to be Halloween. We're going to talk about Halloween stuff. We're going to get spooky. Maybe one of you guys will tell us a horror story. You could check out old and new episodes of DD214 Network and Gaming live at twitch.tv, at Clean Sanchez Media, youtube.com, at Clean Sanchez Media, kick.com/Clean Sanchez. Anything Clean Sanchez Media, it's going to be on there.
You can find any of our old library through Clean Sanchez Media. If you want new and different content, you know, there's other fucking shit you can watch through Clean Sanchez Media. You can watch through Tech Guy Media. We've got a shit ton of crap just, you know, we're all over the place.
And if you find me in Kansas City, Missouri, for some reason, stay the fuck away. All right, just stay the fuck away from me. All right, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I appreciate you watching, but stay the fuck away from me. All right.
And in saying that, guys, we will see you next week for a special Halloween episode. We love you guys.
Love
see
you,
you next
John.
time.
Love you, Joe. I love the audience
guys.
too. You guys are cool too. I love you. I love you.